Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk Though.
Welcome to the show. Let's get this party started.
I'm out.
Hopefully, y'all had a great day today.
I'm out.
It wouldn't be alleged because he was charged.
Welcome to Speak. I'm out. Welcome to Speak. I'm out.
Why, those must be some good wings.
I'm out. Who You With Kirk Dog.
Welcome to Speak On It with Who You Dog. I'm L. Who You With Kirk Dog. Hopefully, y'all had a great weekend so far. It's over to reality in the morning. Yeah, gotta hit it early in the morning. That's why I'm on here early tonight. Hopefully y'all enjoyed your weekend, had a great time. Want to welcome everyone on the show from Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch. Not Periscope, I keep saying Periscope. Twitch, Twitter, D Live is always in the house, and also Anchor.fm. You can actually go on Anchor.fm and you can follow us on Anchor.fm, take the show on the road no matter where you are. And you can catch all the past broadcasts. And then you can also subscribe to the channel. Just a low fee of $2.99 per month. That's cheaper than one cup of coffee. And you can get some other shows that we don't do on the other platforms. So definitely take advantage of that. And um, support the show. That's what it is. No matter what platform you on, please like, share, tell a friend. We are live. And click the notification for whenever we come on live. You can always join us, live chat with us, or if you wanted to, you can also call in. But if you do call in, please do not block your number. I won't answer. I get enough spams already, so I won't answer. Um, Other than that, there's only a couple other rules. Be respectful. You call in, be respectful in the chat room, and also if you call in. So tonight we're going to talk about a couple of things. Uh, I seen the story. I guess yesterday came out or Friday, one day. Um, Woodsboro High School out of Woodsboro, Texas. This happened back on Halloween, but it's just now coming out to the public. So a couple of students actually uh, dressed up on Halloween as Klansmen, and they were terrorizing black students, their classmate, which then the classmate was actually tased by a stun gun. And yeah, I have a lot of questions about that, but that's one of the things we will be talking about. Welcome all aboard. It's out of Florida. Tune in. I know she normally watch the reruns, but I'm glad you in tonight. You actually catching it live tonight. I know I'm about 3 hours ahead of time, so 2.5 hours ahead of time, but my schedule had changed, so I have to get up pretty early. So I said, you know what, let me do it now instead of waiting. But I'm glad you always tuning in, always supporting the show. Then also, we're going to talk about Kevin Gough. Um, that's the defense attorney, and for one of the suspect in the Ahmaud Arbery case. Last week he did the bird call. I'm gonna call it the bird call because that's what we call it in the hood, the bird call. He did the bird call saying we don't want no more black pastors coming. Um, yeah, so the black pastors they answer that call. It's gonna be an interesting week in Burnsville, Georgia, because they showing up. He asked for it. He said he don't want them to come. That's like saying, "Hey, y'all, come on down." So it's going to be interesting all week in that trial, um, because he just showed his horn sticking out, that red neck sticking out. So we're going to hit on that a little bit also tonight, and then we probably hit on a couple other things. Uh, the closing argument is going down tomorrow in the Cal Rittenhouse. So I'm not sure when the jury may get the get the case. Um, it may actually be next couple of days. They may receive the case, and hopefully they do what's right. So we will see about that. I know it's an option on the table for a lesser charge, but murder is murder. No other way of putting it. So we got somebody cruising through the neighborhood real slow. I'm trying to make sure everything okay. Um, yeah, but the thing is, I watched the video several times of that defense attorney saying this. Even the lady next to him, she just put a hand on her forehead, kind of covered her hair and played with her hair, trying to avoid what he was saying. And I'm sure if he mentioned that to someone else, they probably told him, you don't want to do that because you open up a can of worm. And when that worm get out, you don't want it to get out. It's bad enough you can find nothing but one black person to actually sit on that jury. But then you want to make a statement like that, which is a whole nother craziness. So because he feel like, oh, we have basically an all-white jury except one, um, I can make these comments, and that jury is still going to find him innocent. But unfortunately, you open up a can of worm that you didn't want to do, and now that it's opened up, it's one of these cases where you have to deal with the consequences because they are coming. Now, I'm sure some of them probably on the ground already. So they are coming. And the thing is, they come in with peace. They come in with peace to support the family, praying with the family, and praying that y'all do what's right and find these murderers guilty of the crime that they have committed. So, yes, you the one that put it out there, but now you have, I, I think it's a call out for 100, and it's probably going to be more than that to show up. So you can't be in a position and feel like you can say and do whatever you want to and think people not going to respond to you. Now I said he put out the bird call because um, when you're in the hood, you hear hoo hoo. That means something going down. So because of that dumb statement that you made, well, guess what? You did the bird call, and that's it. Now that you did the bird call, they're gonna call. So that's something you have to deal. Now, hopefully he don't try to try. Oh, it should be a mistrial. No, you don't want to open up that can of worm. That can of worm. Y'all are the ones that pick and choose that are white jury except one. So you are the one that caused this problem. If y'all would have made it fair and pick qualified jurors and not hand pick them, because that is a small town, small county. Everybody probably know everybody, and you all know who all stand on what. So now the consequences of it. So you put the bird call out there, the flock is for the answer. That's all to an answer. All the boys said, tell the truth, shame those devils. Exactly. That's all it is. You put it out there, they answering, and they're coming. Um, I didn't see the other comment said the white woman on the jury are the real victims. I'm not sure why you said that. Because the family is the victim for the simple fact that that mother having to sit through and look at the evidence of the pictures after the crime, seeing her child arm basically almost blown off from a gunshot wound up close. And I believe they said it looked like the shotgun was actually touching his body when the shot was fired. So I don't I don't agree with the fact, not unless it's something happened I don't know about. I don't feel like the white women are the victim, that family is the victim, having to relive all of this, and then to be slapped in the face to have this basically all white jury except one, having to live with the fact that in this small Georgia town that is similar to Texas, Hingham High, Texas, um, that's the victim, is the family having to deal with this unjust setting of a court that's supposed to be fair to all, and even the judge recognized it was some racist bias in the jury selection, but he allowed the trial to go on. He should have told them no. Do not need to be an all-white jury, because one or two things gonna happen because of their white skin and because of the white suspect that is on trial. You're gonna have some to vote not guilty just because of the color of their skin and the color of the skin of the victim. So that's the victim. The family, and Ahmaud is the victim because the family is having to live through this again. And then to add insult to this situation, with the family having to hear this attorney talk about Reverend Al Sharpton being in the courtroom, making the statement, uh, we don't need no more black pastors in the courtroom. We don't need no more black pastor coming here. And he said it like he was making a point. Uh, Talking about sitting with the victim's family. Well, I'm glad he at least acknowledged that Ahmaud Arbery is the victim, and the black pastors are actually sitting there to support the victim. Um, and so, and trying to influence the jury in this case. So the thing, stand by. Got a call coming in. I believe it's going to be all aboard. Um, Speak on it.
I have to redeem myself. I was being sarcastic, but I didn't give context.
Oh, okay.
As far as that attorney goes, that's basically the dog whistle he was giving out to the jury. He was influencing the jury and intimidating the jury.
Well, actually, the jury was not in the courtroom when he made that statement. They wasn't in the courtroom.
Oh, they weren't in the courtroom.
No.
Okay, but I'm sure that.
But somebody probably told him what's going on, though.
I mean, everybody knows.
Exactly.
The jury knows when they look around from left to right that everyone in that jury room is white except for one.
Exactly.
So
but
that right there is influencing the jury. That's influencing the jury.
Yeah, and
it's going to be one of the good old boys.
Because they probably all go to the little doo-wop together and and play bingo together, and they all know each other. So that's all. But basically, in this situation, I got a feeling because this same attorney gonna ask for a mistrial because all these pastors finna show up. And that judge should say the right thing. Well, you the one that brought this on yourself. You brought this on yourself.
That judge is just saving face. If that judge could say that he believes they were using racism to choose the jury pool selection, they were discriminating against people. For him to say that and then not take action, all that tells you a lot.
Oh yeah.
That was a dog whistle as well.
Oh yeah. For him to allow that trial to go on with those jury, out of all the voters in those counties, and I know different states are different. Some states go by your license or something like that. But then some, once you register to vote, and you're voting like Texas, if you're voting in Texas, you will get called for jury duty. What you should sit on jury. I don't care what type of duty it is. You should do your civic duty and show up. Trying to get out of them, because when you get out of them, this is what happened when it's a high profile case like this, and they don't want you to sit on that jury because of the color of your skin. But the thing is, in reality, they probably, I don't know when they chose the black person. They probably chose the last one because they
And we
wanted.
don't know what that black person views are either. It could be one of the most, he could be corruption.
Exactly.
Because he chose him out of all of the others that were just him.
Well, it's
Seems like he's killed and delivery.
because they probably feel probably somebody who hang out with them had the same mindset. And unfortunately, it's a lot of people don't realize they still in slavery today. I know that's a subject because some people don't realize it. Some people have this good old boy system and feel like everything they say, and it feel like what a white person tell them is the best thing since sliced bread. But unfortunately, you need to do your homework. Um, so T. Cal said, hello, all aboard. Kurt, hey, T. Cal, welcome to the show. Thank you for always tuning in, supporting the show. Um, so, oh, I'm just not reading your comments. Said that's what the defense lawyer basically said in open court about the white women on the jury is the victim.
Yeah, we can't have too many black pastors in here intimidating these poor white women. You know?
True.
We can't have that. I mean, what if they were going to die and pray for justice?
Well, the thing is, these pastors that's showing up, it's not just about their family. And then that this jury, this court right thing, because I know some of these pastors that are saying they're showing up, they're gonna show up, and it's not about just the family, but they dare to support the family, but they're not gonna limit their prayers just to the family. They're gonna be praying for everybody involved.
I implore that all of the white pastors also show up. If you're on the side of justice, the side of right, the side of God, I implore they show up as well. And I want this whole courtroom flooded. I want the Asian pastors. I want all of them.
And don't be surprised, because there's a lot of non-black pastors that is for justice. They don't care who's on trial, long as it's done right. And it may be some of them to show up too, and hopefully they will. Hopefully they will show up and say, you know what, this is not right. Hopefully speak out about this, because go ahead.
It's ironic because right now I just had to call in. I was actually out taking a walk, and there's dangers taking a walk as a woman, especially there's dangers that happen to women, black women as well, But I'm taking a walk right now, and I just tried to call in, so the sound may be a little bit choppy. But I said I needed to speak on this because what they did to that man, that is, we all know what that was. That was, you don't belong here. That was a lynch mob, and they formed together. I don't think they spoke about it in depth beforehand. I think they saw a black man running, people in trucks chasing him with guns, and the other man said, let's fall in line, and stayed on coach. And I feel like a lot of that jury probably would have.
Yeah, And see, the thing is, it was reported that Ahmaud went into this house that was being built. Okay, in my community, I see people going into houses all the time that is being built because they want to see how it look on the inside. Now, it's a difference if they carrying stuff out. They carrying stuff out, then that's the issue.
If he was rolling up with a pickup truck,
Exactly.
and then I would say, okay, this is a little suspicious, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, just call the police. There was another woman that came, she testified, and she said she saw Ahmaud, or we don't even know if that was actually Ahmaud, but someone that fit his description. We know how these descriptions work. You probably would have fit his description too.
True.
You know? But she said that she decided not to call the police because she said she didn't want to be racist. She said, let me not be a racist. It seems like the consensus in that town, and I know there are a lot of little towns like that in America, where the consensus is you don't belong here if you're black.
A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel that way. I get, my wife and I, we just moved earlier this year to a new community. And where we're located, uh, they're not used to seeing my type out here. And it's out here. So I may go somewhere and I will get looked up and down. What you doing? Then especially because my size, a lot of them look at me crazy anyway. But then, like today, I went to the store and I had one of my shirts on. Speak on it with who you with, Kurt, though. And whenever I wear one of those shirts, people always have a habit of staring at me. Like, what is this? And I'm sure some of them probably have Googled. And then also with me, because of some of the interaction we get in the chat room of the trolls, people can say they anywhere and be my neighbor or something. So the thing is, I get stared at all the time, especially when I wear one of my shirts. Even if I don't have one of my shirts on, I get stared at because of the color of my skin. If I was a white or something like that, I don't feel like I would be looked at the same way. But one thing they have to realize, times have changed. And this community is becoming a diverse community because we have all different type of race that is represented over here. We have whites, black, Hispanics, Indian, Africans. So it's a diverse neighborhood, and they just get with the program. So,
well, suppose they come to Atlanta, which is black, successful community, and then they get treated like that in one of those nice, affluent neighborhoods. How would they feel? Well, we don't do that to people.
exactly.
We don't question them when they go jogging through, when they're curious about a. Who knows? Ahmaud could have been looking to buy that property. He could have been he could have had an interest in architecture. He didn't steal anything.
True.
And even if he stole something, he couldn't die.
It wasn't worth
But he didn't.
it wasn't worth taking his life over. But the bottom line is he didn't have anything in his hand.
Mm-hmm. But he could have stole that whole house and you can't just shoot him.
Exactly.
He could have walked away with the house on his back and you don't have the right to shoot him. But the thing is, we have these vigilantes that have these communities. This happened in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, where there were people that were simply fleeing a disaster, going to higher land. And I would love to talk on that one day when you guys get the time. Sure, Ms. Risky probably has a lot of information on that. There were groups that formed to keep black people out of their neighborhood, and they killed them. They were hunting them.
Well, I don't know about hunting them and killing them, but I do know a lot of non-residents moved into that neighborhood and start buying up the properties and stuff like that. And now some of those properties, the people that used to live there cannot even afford the property anymore. And that just don't happen in New Orleans. It happen pretty much in any major city. Like even here in Dallas, at one point we had a lot of people going into the southern sector of Dallas, mainly South Dallas, going over there buying up property, and then they rebuild them. And the people that lived in that community could not afford to live there. Um, Even in the neighborhood I work in, I see it all the time where they will offer these folks little money for their homes, then turn around and um, they offer them a little money, then turn around, they'll tear the house down, put up uh, three-story duplexes or whatever, and these people can't even afford to live in the neighborhood no more. So everywhere, not just in New Orleans, a lot of shadiness going on when Katrina happened, where a lot of people couldn't repair their homes, didn't have the insurance, didn't have the money to pay to get their homes replaced. So people came in to either um, took over that home or gave them little money or whatever to get them out of it. But now you can't even afford to live in those areas.
Well, listen, this is a bit off topic, but on this same topic, a good friend of mine, African American, he's in the 70s, so he owns a good amount of New Orleans. They tried to use the eminent domain law on him for some of his property. And they were saying that the property was unsafe, like because of the zone that it was in. This is like after Katrina, and he fought to get. And then the next thing he knows, they're building all these high rises around his property, but they're trying to push him out. But he was a real fighter. His name is Sterling Lee, and owns a lot of property in New Orleans. He rescued a lot of people after Katrina, and he don't. So to that of restructuring the city. But when I was speaking about the vigilantes, this is something that actually happened. It was in a neighborhood in it's called Algiers Point. Algiers Point. Maybe one day we'll be able to go at stories, but it's called Algiers Point. African Americans were escaping the floodwaters and they were going to that higher land. And then there was a band of 15 to 30 residents, all white, that were shooting people in the back, killing people, and they were ground users. Some of them were prosecuted, and most were not. So this white mob mentality is deeply ingrained in America. It's deeply ingrained, and they're all on code. Most.
Yeah, I know it's history of people doing that. Because I was talking with a friend the other day. Hold on, real quick. Let me start another word. Anchor, stop on me. Hold on. Listening to Speak on It with Who You With Kirk Dog. I'm Who You With Kirk Dog. Right now we are discussing Ahmaud Arbery trial for the victim for the Lord have mercy, I messed all that up. For the suspect that actually killed Ahmaud Arbery. The lawyer said last week that I don't need any more black pastor coming here. So he put out the bird call. Now the black pastors are showing up this week, so that will be interesting. We also discussed that Cal Rittenhouse closing argument start tomorrow, and also about how people take advantage of folks and try to take their land from them, either by force or legal ways. So we actually talking with all aboard out of Miami, Florida, who is on the phone line. So all aboard, go ahead with your statement. I didn't want to cut you off before you went too deep in that segment in.
Handle business. I was just saying that this mob mentality is more common than we realize. Just the fact that, even that they were allowed to have this mainly white jury in a town that is that is fairly diverse. It is about 30% African American. And then I'm sure there are Mexicans and other people that live there as well, other Latinos and Hispanics. But to able to find one black person out of all of those people, and then to have the judge publicly say it, and then still proceed to the trial. This is outrageous.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, if they're found not guilty, we know how that works. We know the story of Emmett Till. We know that we know about double jeopardy, where you can't be tried twice for the same crime, right?
True.
So to me, it seems like the fix is in. The fix is in. Now it's up to these white people by all of this attention. The only thing that can sway them is the public outrage.
Exactly. And when we say public outrage, we're not talking about going down there tearing up stuff. It's time to make a change.
Speak for yourself, Kurt Dog. Speak for yourself.
Well, I'm just saying we speak nonviolence on here, but it's time for a change. That's why we talk about on the show so much about getting registered to vote and also getting out and vote. See, it's a difference. You got to do them both. Don't just get registered to say that you register, but you also need to do your civic duty and go out and vote. I know for me, this last election we had last month for the 8 amendments we had here in Texas, I went and voted. I don't care what it's for. I'm going to vote. So we definitely need to get out and vote, as it can make a difference in the long run. These amendments, unfortunately, all of them passed. Some of them I feel like they shouldn't pass, but I can't do it by myself. And the thing is, some people think it's not important, but those small elections like that, where they're not playing ads and asking you to get out and vote, well, guess what? They're going to put out laws around those amendments that pass. So hopefully y'all go ahead and get registered. And next year we could get Greg Abbott up out of here. And what you was talking about in Louisiana about people coming in, shooting folks in the back and stuff like that, that had been done in the history of America a lot. Because when we talk about uh, the Tulsa, Oklahoma riot, Charlotte, uh, North Carolina riots, all the different riots that happen, they happen for the simple fact that black was thriving during that time in those cities, and people was jealous and they come in and take over by force. So kind of like even down in your way, Florida, what city was that? They did a movie about it with Ben Ring. Rosewood. And matter of fact, with Rosewood, the Senate of Rosewood, they actually paying for them to go to college. I did a story on that. I believe it was last year. I did a story about it. So they are paying for their grandkids and all of them to go to college. Anybody who family was affected by that riot. So a lot of people don't realize that, but a lot of these riots where it was a mass were basically because the black area was thriving. I believe it was in North Carolina, South Carolina, but they was very popular, had banks, different business, and all of this, all owned by black folks. And then the mob came in and stopped all of that. So that was
I read a story that was one of the other Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
We all know about Greenwood and Tulsa at this point, but there were a bunch of Black Wall Street in the country, but they were all systematically destroyed with the help of the local government.
True.
And that's the thing. with the help of the local government. And this is what I would say about voting. If voting was not important, they would not be going behind the scenes, working so hard to change the map.
That's so true.
Down voting booths, to close down the election offices in Black communities, to create laws to disenfranchise Black people specifically. If your vote did not matter, they wouldn't be doing this. They would focus on something else.
Exactly.
It's important. Your vote matters. And I've seen politicians on a smaller scale who have actually just gone out door to door and met with their neighbors, which is also a risk when you're dealing with being a Black person. Because knocking on a person's door, we know that can get you shot.
Well, the thing is, a lot of them don't do that no more. But last year, when Kurt Johnson and Junior, I forgot his last name, when they ran for city council in the city of Grand Prairie, they actually knocked on doors. They knocked on doors, people's houses, asking for their support. And that's where I became to realize who they were, because I'm like, hey, they doing what they need to do. They doing it the old school way.
There was a Black politician, and when I get her name, I'll bring you back up on the show. I forget her name, but her election was won by, I believe, 7 votes.
It's a lot of them like that.
Mm-hmm. So don't think your votes don't matter. They want you to feel that way. Your vote matters. If not, if you don't win the election, you're still influencing the way they're going to act in the future. They're going to have to address you if you have numbers voting against them. That's still leaving an impression with those politicians. Like, okay, these people are serious. They have the potential to get us out. Let's give them something.
Exactly.
That's how it works.
And here's another thing. While we're talking about voting, in Texas, we have, in a lot of states, we have a lot of major elections coming up next year. So get registered now, for you will be ready. Now, we've talking about history that had taken place in America. This is the same history where they call critical race theory. That is true history of America. But they call it critical race theory to try to prevent people from making it seem like it's all fake, but it's not. And then on top of that, Greg Abbott don't want to talk about the history of America in school. So if we don't talk about it, then what happened? It dies with us. That's why we need to keep it going. That's why the true history of America need to be taught in school. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And America have a lot of ugly history.
And that's another thing. A lot of people end up becoming, when you don't know your history, you're not even going to know the good part.
Exactly.
You're not going to know how much potential. I'm telling you, in America, they would not focus so hard on suppressing African Americans and minorities in general. But I'm going to speak for the African Americans, because African Americans have really had it the hardest in this country. Outside of Native Americans and things like that, they just get compensation. They wouldn't try this hard if they weren't afraid of the progress. You know what I mean? If they weren't afraid of the progress and they didn't see the potential and the power in African Americans, they would not be worried about you.
Exactly.
They put that Asian bill through quick, and I haven't heard nothing about Asian hate since.
Nothing else. And they still haven't passed the black hate bill. So they not concerned about black folks. That's the history of America.
Stay on their neck. Don't let up. Keep speaking on it.
Exactly. Now also, we're dealing with the history of America. Just like the story I was going to start with, but I know we got all off topics. But the story I was going to start with, talking about these teenage boys here in Texas on Halloween. They decided to dress up in Klansman outfits and terrorize black kids on Halloween, where they even tased one black kid with a stun gun. So,
I think I did see an article. I didn't get to read much into it yet.
well, it's just not hitting the news where I just ran across it. It may have been Friday or yesterday I seen it, but it's very disturbing. And not only that, the school, Woodsboro High School in Woodsboro, Texas, they know about this incident. The police is investigating this incident, but here it is, these high school students still allowed to play in Friday night football.
Instead of being charged with a hate crime.
Exactly. So the NAACP and the attorney is trying to get it to be a hate crime, and the school just put out a statement saying that they are aware of the issue, and until the investigation is going on, they're gonna allow the investigation to get finished first. Now the Texas Ranger is also investigating this incident, but it never should happen because the question is, couple of questions, because I said at the beginning, I have some questions about this. First of all, where did these young men find these outfits at?
Mm-hmm.
How did they get their hands on Klansman outfits? Then, where was the parents? The parents didn't know. They didn't know they was going out on Halloween like this?
What I've noticed is that every year at Halloween, and I've talked about this ever since Trayvon, right? Every year at Halloween, they use that as an excuse to wear their blackface and to make fun of victims of shootings. After Trayvon, there was a big thing where they were wearing hoodies and holding Skittles in Arizona. And they bring out their Klans robes. They feel that way all year. But, they can get away with it being like a joke. Like, oh, it's just a costume. They would not tolerate this if this was a Nazi uniform.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it would be an issue if it was. It would be a no-no. But when it's scaring black folks, and one boy was tased, but it was reported that they terrorized at least 6 other kids. Now, I just so happened, I think, this had to been at least 20 some years ago. I think back in 98 or something like that. I went to Galveston for the weekend, and just so happened they was having a Klan rally down there. And me and a group of friends, we was going somewhere on our way to the beach or something, and they had the road block off. Didn't know why, so we pulled up in the parking lot with everybody else, and here come the Klansmen in full outfit walking in the street of Galveston. And I'm like, wow.
Right, but God forbid, a black power movement or someone comes through a town. I think it's the no F around. No F around.
Oh yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. And actually I need to do an update on him because I don't know if the leader is still in jail or not. If he's still in jail, because he did get arrested. They claim he pointed a gun at a police officer or somebody at a rally, and so I don't know if he's out of jail. I need to do a follow-up story on him and see.
Well, a black man in a beret is more dangerous than a white man in a Klan's outfit.
Oh, most
in
definitely.
America.
Matter of fact,
they're not getting arrested. But these white hate groups, they get to thrive and make money, and they're doing illegal activities. There's a lot of drugs that are passing through those organizations. They're funding it through criminal activities. I don't see any RICO charges being hit on them, but they're worried about all the rappers. The whole music industry, they're getting those RICO charges, but I have yet to see one on that organized crime going on in the KKK.
exactly. Matter of fact, I actually seen this documentary this morning, and I cannot think the name of it. It was early this morning. I seen it, and it was talking about the first black mayor of I believe it was Philly, first black mayor of Philly, and they did a documentary of him. Now, here's the key with that. Uh, with doing the documentary, they talked about when they bombed that block for the fact that
it was the Move building, Move. It was called Move. That was the Move organization. It was the organization. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but when they dropped the helicopter, I keep looking at my window because somebody stopped in front of my house, and I'm trying to see who it is. I have my blinds open. Normally, I don't have them open, but it wasn't that particular documentary, but this was strictly about the first black mayor of and they was talking about it, and basically he took the blame for it, but he wasn't the cause of it because the fire chief and the police chief went behind his back and decided to do this without his knowledge.
I saw that. So he was a figurehead.
Because he was the mayor, it happened on his watch, even though he had no knowledge what they was doing. Had no knowledge at all. And they went behind his back, and first thing they did was say, well, he gave us the okay. He didn't have any knowledge of it. None whatsoever. And I'm trying to, now I'm thinking, I'm trying to pull up his name because it was crazy. Unfortunately, and they was interviewing different people, and they was like, because he was the head in charge, and because of that, he said it happened on my watch. So he took the blame for it, even though he had no knowledge of it. And I believe they said in there it cost him his reelection because people was pissed off because of it. And they was actually had death threat and all of that because of it. But he had absolutely no knowledge of it. Um, I'm trying to pull it up. So go ahead with your statement while I'm trying to pull it up. All aboard.
I know I did hear about that, and that I'm sorry. Good morning. No, I heard about that, and that was a stain on American history. And something that I've noticed is whenever they bring out the bombs, it's normally whenever they bring out the weapons against American citizens in America,
yes,
it's done against black people that are taking a stand to. And not that I necessarily agree with all of their positions or anything like that, but I noticed the same sort of tactics aren't really used against other people. And you can argue Waco. Nope, because that was a completely different thing. But dropping a bomb, I've only heard of it in Tulsa, in Philadelphia, And then I heard of it again when they sent the bombs in Dallas for the black men that shot the police officers in Dallas.
Yes.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, and they used a not a drone, but a low tank, automatic, a low some type of tank they used, a small one that blew him up. So yeah.
Well, that device was usually used to negotiate. They told them that they were bringing him a cell phone, and I don't think that's right because you're supposed to have due diligence. You're supposed to be brought to justice. You don't get to be an executioner. But that's something that isn't afforded to these terrorists. They don't do that in Charlotte. They don't do that. I mean, they just get free reign to run the streets and cause terror.
Yes, and I did find the name of the first black mayor, Reverend Dr. W. Wilson Good Sr. So definitely, yeah. Once he left politics, he's ordained ministry and devoted his life to the ministry. So it's definitely a good watch. Trying to see if I could pull up the name of it, of the story, but if that's the stories,
I love to watch.
But if you pull up his name, it's definitely a good watch. It's about an hour long, and I watched it this morning. I was like, oh wow! And just so happened, I just accidentally found it. It was early; most of the news wasn't on yet, so I was just flipping channel, and I said, "Oh, this sounds good," and start watching, and it was good. So definitely check it out if you get the opportunity. It's a documentary on Reverend Dr. W. Wilson Good Sr., first black mayor of Philadelphia, and you can definitely pull it up. I seen it on BNC. BNC this morning, Black News Channel.
I follow them.
Yes.
Mark Lamont Hill, I believe, is on there. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill.
Yes, he's on there. Mike Hill is on there also.
Philadelphia too.
And so
Philadelphia, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill.
It's some good stories to come out of there. So definitely support BNC. They give it to you straight up. They're not gonna sugarcoat it. They're gonna give it to you like it happened. So definitely check out BNC, and I'm sure if you go to their website, it'll be something on there about this documentary. And it was actually pretty good, an hour long. I enjoyed it. It was early, about 6 something this morning when I seen it. So it was real early. But so as always, all aboard. I always appreciate whenever you call in. We're getting prepared for our end of the year show. We're working on some things. We're gonna be giving away grab bags and stuff like that. So definitely continue to tune in. If you know somebody that is want to hear the truth about some things, definitely invite them to come. We haven't set a date of our last show of the year, but we're working on that because both our schedules crazy right now. Um, I've been saying that on the show for a while that sometime I may come on late. Some days I may not be able to come on at all because I'm extremely tired. My hours have changed. I have to be at work earlier, and I work long hours. But definitely continue to tune in, and hopefully one day we'll get you on the show. Um, you'll come in and actually be on camera with us. So hopefully we'll be able to do that.
We'll see. No, I definitely support the show. And if I can't catch the live, I catch the replay.
I know you do.
I was able to catch the live tonight, so I'm happy.
Yeah, because I was like, okay.
I was doing a lot of stuff, and I'm trying to prepare for the week. So I'm like, you know what? It's early. I'm gonna do the show a little bit live because I'm not doing nothing right now. As it get later, 5 o'clock still come early in the morning. So it's like I need to try to get to bed early. So I'm working it out.
You know, they like craving time as well. So you got to get reactivated and readjusted. But we appreciate you, all your viewers do. I always learn something. You and Miss Risky. I'm always learning. And so you keep speaking on it. And I'll keep listening.
I appreciate it, all aboard, and you always welcome to call in during the live shows, and always keep us informed because you be bringing us some good history too. Then I'm gonna see if we're able to do it before the end of the year. What you was talking about, what's going on in New Orleans, but Miss Risky been working on something. That's why she haven't been doing history on Thursdays because she's working on something for the end of the year. Well, we both are, but we can make sure we can have it going the way that we need it to go. Uh, One thing that we're working on is the difference between white laws and black laws. We've done a show like that before, but it's so much going on. We're gonna do another one. We're gonna have different shows compared, different cases that are similar but different outcome. So that's something that we definitely working on. And but other than that, I should be here tomorrow. It's Monday, so it's gonna be a long day. Uh, I should be on sometime. Probably try to be on by 8 p.m. tomorrow. So if not, I'll still come on, but it may not be long. So so other than that, I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Allowing me to invade your space. I know you could be anywhere, but you chose to hang out with me. I appreciate it. I love each and every one of you. Until then, peace.